Everybody is different. Some people are genetically blessed.
Hi there.
Hello. What a lovely afternoon it is.
Oh, it's
so hot and sunny.
It's been
gorgeous.
isn't it?
Not a cloud in the sky.
Exactly. But before we go any further, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube.
And like and follow us on Facebook.
And make sure that you follow us on Twitter, and don't forget to tweet.
And of course, importantly, don't forget Instagram. Yay! Now, before we start anywhere, girls, can I just remind everybody that the competition is still rolling on.
Yeah.
So, but this Sunday at 4 o'clock, there'll be me and there'll be Dee, and we'll be live on Facebook, and we're going to announce the winner. That's 4 o'clock on Sunday, and don't forget to send your questions in. So, Harriet, remind us of the presents.
Some wonderful cheeses from Castelli.
And we've got some fantastic wines from Wines with Stories. You know, the name is what it is. It's Wines with Stories. You know what I mean. Fantastic wine.
Absolutely. And you know what? We can't wait to get away on holiday, right? So a glamping experience from a company called Experience Freedom. And that's what we all want. Freedom.
Yes. And then you've got hot chocolate, you've got tea, and you've got just beautiful granola, because I've tried it, and it's from Jai Tea, and it's a lovely hamper. So everybody, 4 o'clock on Sunday, the announcement will be made.
If you haven't enter now.
Absolutely.
Yes, enter quickly, subscribe and enter, quickly.
Yeah.
And listen, girls, what to watch Wednesday? Debbie, what's been going on?
Well, Dee and I actually have been in cahoots with this one. We have been watching Dead to Me, haven't we, Dee?
We have. And I have to say, it's superb. But you know why I thought it was, I mean, personally, and I don't often talk about this, my husband died 11 years ago. And in the series, this guy dies suddenly, like my husband did. And it was a really tricky situation, because I'd had a huge row with him, and I went away, and he died the day after we had this huge row. This is exactly what happened. He was also a musician in the series, the same. And I tell you, I went through everything this woman has gone through the pain, the anger. You go through different phases. First of all, I felt really guilty. I thought it was my fault. Of course it wasn't, because it was something that something he had. And then I went through terrible, anger with him. How dare he leave me in that situation? And I never talk about this. And after that, it was like it's a healing process, but it takes years. And I don't even know if somebody said to me recently, because I've never had a relationship since him, and he was a hard act to follow. But it gets better. Time is a great healer, and that's true. But this series is just had everything in it for me, and isn't it, Debbie, fabulous?
It is fabulous, and Dee and I were saying that if I'd have known her very well, because I knew her, but not that well, we would have actually probably had a very similar relationship, as the two leading actresses do. But we've had a lot of, it's brought a lot of stuff home for Dee, and for me it's just been a really hilarious and fantastic series, and I love it. I know you've seen it as well, haven't you, Harriet?
Yeah, it's full of comedy. It's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, as you say, the sort of resonance for you is so profound.
Yeah.
But as well as that, the series is comedic. It gives you, as you said, delivers everything. Sherrie, what about you, darling?
Well, I've been watching this program about Queen Victoria's children.
I've seen it.
Oh, I was very shocked. I know quite a bit of the history of Queen Victoria, because I've always been fascinated by her. But the way she treated her children,
what happened?
She had 9.
She decided her youngest 2 children were going to be companions. She desexualized them completely, and they were there to serve her only.
Oh, I know, and the mental problem they must have all gone through as they got older, and the fact that she wouldn't let them go, and that I think there was even the line as she believed that they belonged to her. You know, I go back to my mother, who was very controlling and manipulative and really needed me by her side every second of her life. Every second of her life. So I see this, you know, that same kind of thing. I can relate to it, but not in that sense. I mean, that's extraordinary.
Well, I think we need a psychology program on the next one to talk about. But meanwhile, this is a makeup program.
Yes.
And we have in the waiting room, who's about to come in to join us, the most fabulous cosmetic doctor, Dr. Tracy Mountford, my very good friend. Hi, Tracy.
Woo!
Hi, Tracy.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hello, Tracy.
Tracy, before we start talking to you, have you got anything for a hot flush? My whole body is melting.
It's lovely weather, but it makes it even worse, doesn't it?
I know.
Tracy, I'm so glad that you've joined us. You always look so fantastic, which is why I'm sure when patients come to visit you for treatments, they feel so safe because you look gorgeous.
Well, I hope I look normal.
Well, I didn't say normal. I didn't say normal, Tracy. I didn't say normal.
Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the thing is as well, I've always, you know, look, I don't really like wrinkles, much like anybody else. I don't like it, but I've had to embrace the fact as I've got older, I've had to have a few wrinkles. I'd love to look the way I did when I was 30, but that is not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think I just try to look the best I can. And that's what I think we all aspire to. And that's what
Absolutely.
you know, and keep everybody looking natural. That's the main thing, isn't it?
And this lockdown is quite difficult, isn't it? Because everybody's going, oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, I think you ladies look amazing. I mean, we really do see what we really do look like. And actually my biggest stress has been my hair. You know, I haven't seen my natural hair colour for, you know, 40 years. Probably longer, actually. No, longer than
Tracy,
that.
don't you just love Sherrie's hair? We're all saying Sherrie looks amazing, her hair
Well,
today.
she does, because it just looks so fabulous. But of course,
Well, I have white roots like that. So I usually have them darkened because I like a dark root with this blonde. And I thought, oh, I can't be bothered. So I went and got a box which was ultra light blonde. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to stick it all over. Left it on for over an hour, and it came out sort of clean. It
looks
blonde.
beautiful,
Still got white
darling.
roots.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you can do, can't you? In these circumstances.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
that's all we can.
It's really hard, but that's the main thing, seeing how your hair really looks. And all my nails fell off because, of course, I've lived literally, and it's like I had leprosy. All my nails fell off. And my toes, but you know, hey, it is what it is, isn't it?
It is what it is.
Tracy, I was trying to explain to the girls things that we've talked about in the past, and one of my favourite conversations that I've had with you is shrunken heads.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, it's true. It's one of the things we don't realise. I mean, we all know we age, and we all have to embrace that in one way or another, and that's absolutely fine. But what people don't realise, particularly in females, particularly in women, males it happens too, but mainly in females, you know, as we age, we lose bone. So our actual physical head, our cranium, our bony cranium actually shrinks. Our mandible shrinks, everything sort of recedes. And that's why, or it contributes to why, our skin doesn't hang or drape in the same way on our face as it used to. So not only everyone is aware that we lose facial volume, or in fact, facial volume redistributes. It doesn't get lost. So we lose fat, we get gum recession, even if we have impeccable dental health. But actually, a lot of the way we age and get jowly and heavy is actually bone loss. And we lose a lot, you know, percentage-wise, year on year, we lose a lot of bone. And it's in our faces as well. So we get the skull shrink, so we get the incredible shrinking head phenomenon. So our skin all sags.
I've heard all that, and I've not come to terms with it at all. But what I want to know is, what the F do we do? We can't replace bone, and all I've got is a shrinking head.
What are we going to do?
What the hell do we do?
Exactly.
Tracy, I have to say that Debbie's been talking about you for years, and this is the first time I've met you, and so it's fabulous to meet you. But can I just ask you, what sort of age should we start? I mean, I'm a little bit over 25, but what age do you think we should start looking at stuff? And you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a bit controversial, really, isn't it? Because I think back in my day, your day, we wouldn't even consider doing stuff, you know, very early on. And we do have to be a bit careful as well, don't we? Because we see all these young, beautiful creatures and we're inundated. We're looking at these people from all these shows. And I think it's so sad when you see them doing stuff too early. I think they're so beautiful and so gorgeous. Why would they mess with themselves? But that's only me. It's only my opinion. But I think in terms of what you're asking me, I think a good time to start sort of working preventative is when you're in your sort of late 20s, early 30s. I don't mean intervention. I don't mean injectables necessarily and all that stuff. I mean, you know, the stuff we all know. Good sunscreen every day, you know, a little bit of retinol to stimulate a little bit of cell turnover in the skin. Sensible stuff that we know that we should be doing. I think once we get into the mid-30s towards the 40s.
That's us.
Yeah, there's probably an argument. You know, everyone's different. I say this, everybody is different. Some people are genetically blessed to age very, very well. I had lines under my eyes when I was 27. I remember seeing them. You know, they were there and they weren't going anywhere because I've got that very fine, fair skin. So what I'd answer you there is that everyone's different. But a general rule of thumb, if you can prevent damage, you're onto a winner, because if you prevent deep lines forming and sun damage, you're going to be onto a winner. So good skincare, topical skincare. There are really brilliant light lasers now, things that aren't aggressive, things that stimulate natural collagen, really, really improve skin health for that younger age category. And then, as we all know, once we get into the really seeing the definite lines of wrinkles beginning to form, there is an argument for, you know, very light touches of wrinkle relaxing injections, perhaps in the mid-30s to early 40s, just to keep everything relaxed and looking healthy and well.
But Tracy, what age does your head start to shrink? That's what I want to know. I'm a bit worried about. When does it start to shrink?
We're like on a stick with those shrunken little heads.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, the most obvious time, I mean, it happens actually from quite early on, but the most dramatic time is perimenopause, as we're hitting that sort of between So the rate of aging, if I could draw you a graph, which sadly I don't have a whiteboard in my house, but if I'd show you the rate of aging over time. And actually, we do.
I don't want to see it, darling. I'm sorry, and I'm happy to have ropes and pulleys. I can have them on my back to hike everything back. I'm happy to do that.
When we do the ponytail. But I think it is true, Sherrie. It's about the real dramatic aging and dramatic bone loss is between your late 40s throughout the 50s, and it's dramatic. And I don't know whether you have colleagues, friends, or you've ever seen it. People tend to, we're doing quite well, actually, I'm doing quite well. And then it almost seems like you age very, very quickly.
Oh, immediately, yes, overnight.
Yeah. And that's because all these things, of course, we don't age immediately, but there's an accelerated aging. And
that's the menopause. You say the menopause.
Perimenopause,
Perimenopause and menopause.
Is
that the loss of estrogen and things like that?
I mean, that's why, you know, again, I'm not a specialist. I interviewed a specialist HRT doctor the other day when I was chatting. And, you know, I'm not here to bang the drum for HRT or not. That's not my... But actually, I think for a lot of women, it really does improve quality of life. And the actual benefit, of course, is on our skin, hair, nails, apart from all the other medical benefits.
But with maturity, is there a point when you can't start having it? Or can you have it at any point?
You can have it at any point, but you need a specialist, I believe, to advise you.
Yeah, of course.
You know? But I think that will help keep the walls from the door. All good nutrition. I mean, dramatic weight loss, we all know, is really bad. It isn't great as we get older, is it? And that's why I always laugh with Debbie, and she always laughs about her chuchi face. Is the fact because she's got a, you know, nice bit of oomph to her face, she actually looks very young, and that always helps these things.
Yes, the face that when I was growing up, I used to hate my fat face, and my mother used to say, you will never age if you've got a big round face. So but Tracy, we need to know what is really important to all of us. What is in your makeup bag? We want to know what tricks you have for us.
Well, again, you know, like you girls, over the years, you know, you girls have spent your lives being made up professionally, haven't you? And you get lots of tips and things. I come at it more from the medical angle, what things really work for skincare versus what things don't really work. And the good thing is a lot of good over-the-counter skincare is pretty good. It's actually not bad. I mean, my go-tos are very basic. For skincare, I keep things very simple. I use something called, and I'm not here to promote, I have no financial interest in any companies. I just want to let you know. But I use something.
Down just a minute. Right.
Yeah.
I use
Get a pen, everyone, get a pen.
I use something called Zoe Obagi, and he's an American dermatologist.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Yeah.
And I use his retinol, which of course we all know is like, hello, it's the big, you know, holy grail of skincare. There's a lot of good.
How do you spell that, Tracy?
This one is let me put my specs on because I can't see very
We've all
well.
got them, yeah.
I can't hold it like this. It's called the Wrinkle and Texture Repair. This is the one. There's lots of different ones, but that's Zoe Obagi. That's 0.5% retinol. Now, that isn't hugely strong.
What is retinol, Tracy?
It's a vitamin. It's a vitamin A compound. It's a vitamin A derivative, and it's been around for donkey's years. Retin A. Everybody knows about, you know, retinol. Everybody knows about that, and actually, some skins can tolerate any retinol product well. Fine skins are blighters, you know, you get peely and red and you give up. This actually is very well tolerated, but the secret of using any retinol is to have someone handhold you through it so that they're adjusting the dose so that you become acclimatized to it. So
what is it, Zoe, did you say?
So this is just my preference, Zoe Obagi, O-B-A-G-I. And
O-B-A-G-I, okay.
And we use that all the time in clinic. I love it. I think I can tolerate it. Just one pump at night, done. You can use it every other night if your skin is very sensitive. Necks are always much more sensitive. So if you're going to get reactions, it will always be on a neck. Or be careful on your top eyelids because you'll end up looking like you've got eczema. So just avoid the top eyelids. So I use that all the time at night. The thing I use today, as I said, I'm a very simple girl at heart. I like to keep things simple. I'm always rushing around to go to clinic. I don't have a lot of time. This is, again, the same range, Zoe Obagi, but what I love about it, it's an SPF sunscreen. Excuse my doggy barking in the background. It's a sunscreen, but it's also a primer for makeup, and it's got that lovely, soft, velvety texture to it. So you don't put the sunscreen on and think, I look like this sort of gloop. It just gives the primer, and then you can put your makeup on over it. And that's Zoe Obagi as well. Lovely. It's a 3-in-1 product. Antioxidant, sunscreen, primer. Love it. Easy peasy.
Right.
So I really like that. And the other thing I use at night, I meant to say before the retinol, and you guys, I'm sure, are fully aware of all of this. Again, I'm sorry, it's Zoe again. Vitamin C serum. Vitamin C serums in every range pretty much nowadays. It's high end. It's what's called one of the antioxidants, a bit like vitamin A. It really improves skin quality. It works really, really well. But that goes on like your underwear. It goes on first before you put anything else on.
Right.
So when you use it at night, you can use it day or night, but I use it at night before I put my retinol on. Put it on first, let it soak in, then put your retinol on.
Dee doesn't wear underwear, so when does she put on?
You're gonna have to just go with the flow and pretend you do.
Just need to check that.
Or anything else.
I know. Tracy, so come on, what about makeup? What makeup do you wear? Because you always look lovely.
Do you know what I found as I've got older, as I'm, I don't know what you girls think. If I wear a really definite foundation, unless I'm being made up professionally where it looks amazing, I just look clagged up. I just look more lined and clagged. So do you know what? I'm almost embarrassed to show you girls because there's so many high-end products out there. I love Charlotte Tilbury. I use a lot of her stuff, but my go-to is Clarins.
Right.
And the Tinted Moisturiser.
Yeah.
It's called HydraQuench Tinted Moisturiser. And what I do is I use the primer. Then if you're talking about day wear, just normal day going into work.
Yeah.
I use this and it almost has the finish of a light foundation, and I find that my skin doesn't dry up too much, but that's because of my skin. I don't think this would necessarily be for everybody, and it certainly wouldn't give enough coverage for a big event or a big day or a big night out. But I love that. Again, it's called HydraQuench Tinted Moisturiser. I always use Pesh, and I've got 7 of these upstairs.
Wow.
Because what I found, don't you find this? When you find something you really like, it goes out of stock, and they discontinue it.
Always.
So I use that. And then if I have to then do a little bit of matte over it, I'll just use a little bit of Bare Minerals
powder.
Just do zhuzh.
It's very weird. I do exactly the same almost. I use the Bare Minerals tinted moisturizer, and I use that powder, so it's the same kind of thing. I never very rarely wear foundation. And what do you do for under your eyes, the concealers?
Oh, I'm sad again. I almost feel so many great high-end products, and you girls will have your tips for me. My go-to, I'm afraid, is Boots number 7 concealer. And I find that it's quick. It's a bit like the old pan stick in the days of the old pan stick.
Yes.
It gives me more
like
coverage when I've got really dark circles here. I tend to look very tired. Always have done.
Yeah.
And what I do is, as we get older as well, here's another shrinking head comment.
Oh God, I can't take much more.
As we get older, our eyes shrink further back into our
It's so true.
Okay, I can't hear it. I can't hear anymore.
That is true.
That's why our eyes look less big and bright. I mean, you girls are lucky. I mean, you've got beautiful eyes there, but our eyes shrink back.
But that's why people, Tracy, have that injectable in their forehead and their noses and around here. So it literally does do that.
Can I say, if we don't do that, I'm just going to say, I realise what we can all do now is that we have to find a fun fair and we go and work on the roller coaster, the Halloween roller coaster. We've got shrinking heads. It's all done.
It's easy. It's simple.
Tracy, one of the best treatments that I've had that you gave me, which is really, really an interesting treatment, was the filler here.
Yeah.
Which is on the temples, because you said
Step in, please.
The way to get over the shrinking head, according to Tracy, and this is all of her work,
to fill your head up.
Is the scaffolding, isn't it? It's the scaffolding.
I suppose the honest answer. Yeah, I think the honest answer is to fill your head up in the right place to fill it. And the problem is, of course, that we're all bombarded by images of people that have certainly not had filler in the right place at all, have they?
And too much.
And should have known better, actually, and should have had practitioners that should have known better too. And I think that's unfortunately what gives fillers a bad rap.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, because then you just see these big full faces and think, well, all fillers look like that. They're a very well-known person who has all the money, the contacts to have the best treatment, known to man. And they still don't look right. So what the hell is that about? So I think, with going back to the eyes, yes, very clever. I mean, these are quite high-end, sophisticated. I'm not going to say risky treatments. I'm saying in the right hands, they're not risky, but they're not sort of that you'd have just done quickly. But you can actually restore volume around the orbit of the eye to make the eyes just
does that. Yeah.
So you actually look more bright, not startled, but just lifts that volume out. The temples where we all tend to go in a bit and shrink and everything. So that actually can really beautify people.
I always say to my granddaughter, I say, now this is what I could have done. And she goes, Nana.
Mind you, we all do that to wind up our families. Don't we all go, I go to my daughter, look at me, I could do this. I think the idea, of course, is, as we know, to look as natural as possible, to keep the eyebrows naturally orientated. None of us want to have, the eyebrows up here and the cheeks out there.
No.
But good aesthetic medicine can deliver very natural looks. But the eyes
I've been there. But the thing is, Tracy, just to ask you this, I have a lymph drainage problem, which is apparently around here. So I can't have that injectable that we're not talking about, or the fillers, because apparently sometimes I don't know whether it's age or you
male
don't drain as well as
correct.
you should.
You do have to assess patients carefully for that. You're quite right, Sherrie. If you actually start to either inject muscle relaxants, wrinkle relaxing injections, there are considerations. I adjust the way I do it. I just change the way I do it. Invariably, you don't have any problem then with drainage around there. But with fillers, yes, you do still have to be very careful. But sometimes it's where it's injected. If it's injected too superficially around this area, the filler, it will make a drainage problem far worse. You look puffy and it looks awful.
That's what happened. Yeah.
If you actually and I'm not saying the treatment was done badly, not at all. Sometimes you just have to take into account that can be a risk. But actually, if you go slowly inject deeply around here and go slowly, you don't tickle up that drainage problem. But you're right, all these things have to be considered. You can't just go.
I've never had anything under my eyes, but I really do think that filling out of the temples here, which, as you can see, has been a fantastic treatment, because that's all it is. It's just
wow.
It was done. It took about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's made to me, because my makeup now can go. It's just made that.
How long does it last?
Ages.
How long does it last?
I mean, temple fillers will last a year plus. I think a lot of the. I think that a lot of the new sophisticated injectables last, though they're not permanent, because permanent can have another set of all kinds of other, are actually last far longer. They're more durable and they're very skin friendly, so they sit nicely there, don't misbehave themselves, and just add a sort of support structure to the face. But the point about doing the temples is the fact, again, I don't know whether you've seen people like this, but as we age, and everyone ages differently, sometimes people just look almost like they've got more fat in their face. They look sort of fuller here, fuller here, and actually sort of narrow here. So they look like a peanut head.
Okay, first of all, we had shrunken heads, and now we've got peanut head.
We've got peanut head. So the idea is to actually restore the natural, harmonious, attractive contours of the face.
Can I just ask, Tracy, does your head carry on shrinking as you get older and older and older?
Yes, yes, it does. And the other interesting thing, and I wish this is great. I'm so enjoying myself. I tell you, the other interesting thing too is, and in my clinic study, I wish I had all my props here and I haven't. But I tell you, we also look more masculinized as we get older. So they did a study where...
Is there an off switch? Is there an off switch?
You've just unleashed the devil within me, you see.
Really?
I'm just talking about it. But actually what happens is, I did a study on this. It's really interesting for us as doctors to be able to treat people and beautify women. And actually, they did a study on old men and old women, and we're talking now in the 80s, and they removed all identifying features of sex. So, hair back in a band, no makeup, cut off to here, no identifying clues, and you couldn't really tell the old men from the old women.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Tracy,
but it's like little babies, isn't it? It's like when you look at little babies. Yeah. Unless there's an identifying clue as to their sex, it is often quite hard, isn't it?
It is, and the thing is, when men get older, they do get like little boobs, don't they? I hope women don't get the other bit down there, because that would be really weird.
Some sooner than later.
Now we're really going off here.
Oh dear God!
Fabulous.
We could talk to you all day.
I know.
Will you come back for another one of our beauty shows?
Oh yes, you've got to come back. Bring everything with you when you come.
That's right.
I will. Do you know? I'll bring all my props.
Yes, promise.
I will.
Please do.
But I tell you, it's so easy to talk to you girls, because it's such fun, and thank you for making this fun, because that's what it's about in lockdown, isn't it?
Do you promise?
Please
promise not to bring a shrinking head or peanut blood, because I can't take it.
Yeah.
I'll try.
It's so embarrassing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Well done. That's the show. Bye, guys.
Oh my God.
Isn't she fabulous?
Hashtag what hope.
You were absolutely right about her. I tell you,
We're turning into men. We're going to turn into little old men.
A shrunken head man.
Yeah, she's got to come back. But listen, have we got any products to talk about ourselves?
Well,
I was going to talk about. I know Tracy was talking about. She has her boots, wasn't it, number 7?
Yeah, number 7.
But I still use the Max Factor pan stick under my eyes.
Do you? Wow, you look good.
Oh
Yeah,
I've got
good.
Max Factor.
Smashbox pan stick.
Oh, if we're going there then. Mac.
Yeah, lovely.
Mac.
That one is
Beautiful.
What's that, Sherrie?
it's
Sherrie, is that
It's 6 concealers in different cream colours, depending what colour you are, what face you've got.
Oh, and do you know what else? I've got this fantastic foundation by a place called The Ordinary. You can get it online. It's really, really cheap, about £5. But they used it on me on this morning a long time ago, and they said Holly used it. So because Holly Willoughby used it, I thought I would use it.
I'm going to talk about this one, which is one I got at Euston Station from Hema, which is a Dutch
I know
company.
that shop, yeah.
Oh, that's a great shop.
Yeah, I was going on
Yeah,
tour
I
and
love
I thought
that
I need a
shop.
foundation. It's light, it's fantastic, and it has great coverage, and it's really inexpensive.
Can I just show you the dress that I've just got?
Oh,
Oh,
you got
yeah.
your dress?
Yeah,
I've got a dress.
Sally Allen does this anytime dress, and I think it's brilliant because, and also a shrug that I've gone on today. Can I show you guys?
Yeah.
If
You got knickers on. You got your knickers on.
It's not a short dress, thank God it's a long dress. We're
No,
okay.
we don't want that. Not after shrinking heads.
No, dear.
No,
Very
next,
good.
darling. But you know what? This, I don't know. She does different dress, but this to me was like day to night, as we are at the moment. But even after,
It's gorgeous.
and look at that beautiful blue. Like Sherry's wearing beautiful blue
Yeah.
today.
Yeah,
It's a blue day.
Yeah,
It's a
about that.
blue
Yes.
day.
Blue day.
That was lovely. And look what I've got this. It's called hang on a second. It's a face and body glow. So I bought this and I just thought it'd be nice to have a little glow occasionally. So now I'm going to do this and see if it works. All right, see if I
Yeah,
glow.
yeah.
Okay.
We're ready.
No, didn't work.
Didn't work for me either.
You've been in the rain,
Oh, God.
darling.
I must tell you what I did this morning. It does work. Look, can you see a little bit of glow?
Ooh.
I can. A little bit.
Yes, it works
Yeah.
for you, not us.
No, this morning, I thought, because when we were talking the other day, Sherrie, you said about being dry skinned, and I thought, no, I'm going to put a lot of stuff. I'm going to use some oil on my legs, as the legs are out because it's summer. So I brought the legs out, put lots of oil on them, and I sat on my leather sofa, and I looked down and thought, oh my God, my legs, they're full of hair, big black hair. And of course, I had sat on the sofa where my dog had been sitting.
Oh,
Had dog hair.
that's gross.
I just wanted to talk about makeup bags because we were going to bring our makeup bags, and I actually bought my makeup bag. But I wanted to say this is Lee Miller, and I got these from the War Museum because
Oh, wow.
this is Lee Miller. Lee Miller was the only woman war photographer in the Second World War. She's inspirational, an extraordinary woman. She was a
I'm
fashion
gonna
model
write that
first
down.
and did
Not
fashion.
I know her.
And then she went and she actually walked and sat when the war was over in Hitler's bath from a concentration camp all the way along, and sat in his home with the filth of the floor and the walk that she'd had in his bathroom.
I hope she weed in the bath.
I think she probably did a load more than that, but the fact
A
that she
load
walked
more
from
than
a
that.
concentration camp
Yeah.
all the way there into his house and sat in
Oh.
that bath. It was
Wow.
the most, and she was the only woman war photographer, and her pictures are extraordinary.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to look that up this afternoon.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Well, that's very
So,
profound.
Debbie, Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, Jenny Powell.
Oh, Jenny Powell. Oh, I
Yeah.
love Jenny Powell.
Yeah, she's coming in on Friday, so we can't wait to see Jenny. But it's really been an incredible episode. I think we might have overrun slightly. But
That's
it
okay.
doesn't matter. We've
little
got to
bit.
have. We've got to have Dr. Mountford back to talk about to depress us even more. But at least she knows how. At least we can get some scaffolding in our faces to make
Yes.
us look slightly bigger. But
Yes.
anyway, guys, we'll see you on Friday. Take care.
See you Friday. See Jenny Powell. Yes.
Please, some hope.
Bye.